Dennis Fogg. We're at Comedy 101. Thanks for coming tonight because this is going to be a great show. I got two very good comedians with me tonight. This first guy from New Hampshire, I work with him quite often. We do Manchester shows often. Let's hear it for Rick. Rick Harrison. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you feeling?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Same. Can I start this off by saying I'm from Massachusetts?
Massachusetts?
I'm at war with everyone from New Hampshire.
Oh, that's right.
Then we're going to cross the border to South Maine.
You do a lot of shows in Massachusetts.
I mean, in New Hampshire, yes.
New Hampshire.
Yes, because I'm actually northern Mass, so it was very easy for me to get to, like, Manchester. I mean, I'm not going any further than Manchester.
Yeah. There's a lot of New Hampshire, this untouchable.
Oh, well, Derry and you know what? Now I'm just talking about two rooms, but they're great rooms. They really are. Mm-hmm. You know, New Hampshire does it up.
But yeah, you've been doing a lot of shows lately. I've been meeting up with you a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I had a slow start in terms of I mean, not to call it a career, but I did start in '03, and I you know, I just always peppered it in here and there. I never really took it serious. I wanted to have something to fall back on, and then 10 years later, I realized I'm not good at anything else. I'm probably not good at this, but if I'm going to be bad at something, it's going to be this, not something else that I hate.
You got to admit, over the last, I'd say, 8 to 9 months, you've gotten better and better. And
better. Honestly,
you got a good set.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting much more comfortable. I'm not sweating. I used to 1 minute into the set, I'd be pouring, you know, and you know, just getting comfortable and trying to be me.
And it does take a while to get comfortable. You know, everybody thinks the minute you step on that stage, but I
think that's what I was doing the past 10 years, was because the 10 years prior to this January, where I really decided to take it serious, I've never liked my voice. I've always was too smiley, and I'm not saying voice like, hey, I'm just saying how I was delivering stuff. I was too clean. I used to always keep my mom in mind.
Yeah, too critical of your own self.
Well, that's gonna stay. That's gonna stay. But the thing is, I was very clean because I always like, oh, you know, my mom's gonna see this. But now I'm like, she can't come to any of my sets. Yeah. I don't care. I'm not interested in making her laugh via stand-up. I can see her in person and make her laugh.
Now the reason why I confuse you, because you're not a normal Massachusetts comic. Let's
black.
face it. No, not just that. No, I didn't even know that, truthfully.
Yeah, well, that's what I try to hide.
Wow. Oh, man.
To hide that with button down shirts.
But there are the classic Boston type of comics, and you're so much fun. You don't fit in that same mode, do you? And your stuff is really fresh and it's really good, and I like that.
I mean, I tend to find Boston comics to be very witty and thought. Sometimes people are just too smart,
right? Too intelligent.
Yeah. You know, and I hate to be spoken down to from a scientist. I mean, it's hard for me to laugh at, you know, atoms breaking or whatever. I mean, I know this is a poor example,
Square root of something.
Right. Like, I feel good performing in front of junkies because I don't make junkies feel like they are junkies.
Right, yeah.
You know, I make
you
them
can
feel...
tell a dick joke and smile about it.
Yeah. It's, so I have a good time talking to people that feel equal to me, you know, and I always see a lot of comics that have this vocabulary that's just, you know, too nuts to it's hard to connect. It's hard to connect is what I'm trying to say.
And I've watched you, you know, for the last like 8 or 9 months. And the thing is, you start with a premise and you grow that joke.
Yes.
You know, I watch you do it.
You're being honest right now.
At first, when you hit it, you're up there and you hit it, and it's like, well, that's kind of funny. And then the next time I see you, you've tweaked it a little bit and you brought it. I've even seen you like abandon them, come back, and actually come back with a stronger view of that. And I think that's hilarious.
I appreciate that. I look at it. I approach comedy the same way I approach talking to women. I always fail with women, but I get home and I'm in hindsight like, oh, I should have said that.
Yeah.
You don't get that second chance.
Right.
You know, but with comedy,
but on stage you do.
You're right. Yeah, because, you know, to me, a bunch of blank faces are all the same to me.
Yep.
So, you know, it's I look at things in hindsight, and I always try to when I think about bits, a lot of times I try to put myself on stage, or I try to put myself in the crowd where it has to, you know, you have to paint the picture without being too wordy.
Yeah.
You know, and because I like to just get to it too. You know, I hate to wait too long, and then I can feel the energy of everybody go down, and I go down with them.
Yeah.
You know.
And also, you know, you and I just did a show together.
Yeah.
And the one we're going to show, which is hilarious.
Right.
But the thing is that when I called you, you know, it was like a spur of the moment type of thing.
Which I think
which you do very well because you're a crowd guy. You love to talk to the crowd, but the show that we were in wasn't a huge crowd.
Yes.
And so a lot of times, but you covered it well because you talked to each person like they're 6 people.
Right.
And I think that's hilarious. I want to show the people this set. You want to see
No,
this? This is
please,
hilarious.
please.
Check this out. Watch this.
How's everybody? I just wanted to feel like I was relaxing. Foliage. Honestly, I've been trying to think of different ways to warm up in this place. It's hot as a mug. I already just messed up this mic stand. Let me see. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just a little irritated. You know, I was working today at Landscape. Can't stand it. Mail lady stops by. She's like, man, when you see leaves, do you see money? And I was irritated. I was like, when you see the internet, do you see pay cuts? Yeah, I want to start off brand new today, you know, start off with a fresh start. Today I actually thought I saw somebody who was homeless here in Maine, but he just looks like that. And you know, I look like this. So when he was like, hey, you know, can I get some change? I was like, listen, man, I am $20 away from fighting you from territory. I really, and I got a better plan, better dance moves, better smile. I don't know. I'll do whatever I got to do. You know, I was actually telling some homeless dude, you know, I really just don't want homeless people to vote. I'm not for it, you know. And people ask why, and I'm like, you know, they made enough bad decisions, you know. But really, homeless people shouldn't vote because beggars can't be choosers. You take, I like how this falls flat for a half a second. I'm really liking that. I've been black my whole life. Just found out late. That's all that was. I found out late. But I don't have issues with stuff, you know. I don't. Deep in my core, I can't get mad, you know, because you know, I never been through like slavery, you know. I never picked cotton. Closest I've ever come to picking cotton, choosing my socks and t-shirts. It's not the same. Air conditioned. I don't know what I'm talking about there. I like wearing t-shirts. I wear them all the time. Foliage. Get off me. Jeez. It is so hot under my eyebrows right now. I don't know what. I know they're a little furry, but they just feel like I just washed my eyebrows only. I just left them there to dry. Anyway, bother me. Anyway, so like I was saying, I actually almost forgot what I was saying, but I know somebody here will remind me. Guess not. Helpful crowd. Very helpful crowd. You guys are amazing. Probably weren't even listening. You don't have to force the claps, Dennis. They're clapping anyway. No, I'm joking. I scarred myself, and not with the toughest way. I scarred myself doing acne, scratching acne off, you know. But I want to look tough. So when, you know, I like to, you know, when people ask, you know, what the hell happened to you, Rick? You know, I don't go, yeah, I scratched my acne. You know, I go, listen, if I was a drinker, I'd be crushing cans of beer on my forehead. But I'm a smoker. I crush lit cigarettes on my forehead just to prove my toughness. Oh, my goodness. All right. So it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you know. And I feel so bad because I'm never aware. I should be more aware of breast cancer awareness throughout the year. It shouldn't just be in October. But I'm too busy being a button man. I made my choice. I know. I think the worst thing I ever done was get caught wearing pink underwear in November. Yeah, you know, because, you know, Breast Cancer Awareness Month was over. And I basically told the dude, maybe I care too much. All right. I'm sorry, Dennis. I'll do rehearsed bits next time.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Well, no, that's crazy.
No, but actually, that was really good.
You know, the one thing I liked about this set is that, first off, I did about 5 jokes that I wrote on the way up. Because I don't know if you remember, I was uncomfortable about putting my stuff on TV because I feel like if anybody really did like me and they want to come see me, they might be seeing some of the same bits and I didn't want to ruin that.
Right. And also they change.
That's what I keep
people
forgetting.
People coming away, he didn't do that joke. Well, you know what? I don't always do that joke.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. So I have to factor that in. I'm also growing in terms of being a performer and with material. So I should have just done what I planned to do. Yeah. But the great thing is that there's a lot of comics there, and I can trust their view on new jokes. On old jokes, I don't like to do it in front of them because I can't feel the energy.
Right.
So I had to kind of mix it up, and I had a lot of fun. Because I was doing crowd work for something for TV, but but it was like a learning lesson. And I tell you, I really do appreciate it. I mean, well, this is the second thing I've done in Maine.
That's great. This is called Comedy 101, and I like to start at the beginning. Now, when you start to write a joke,
right.
Do you write it on paper?
Never.
Do you record it, or you just throw it around until it becomes? No, that's a thing. You throw it around until you find wow, that spun this way pretty good.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that takes too long. That's when I started. I used to write, and jokes were very structured, word for word. Yeah. Now I don't do it like that because I like to sound conversational, and that's the reason why I kept jumping in and out. I didn't like sounding like a robot, so I tend to I kind of have my key points. I know my punchlines. I know how to set up, and I just try to be more conversational. And it's going to change,
right?
And that's fine with me. But now the majority of the bits that I write lately is me hanging out with my boys, talking about nonsense, and then I go, oh, that can work, and then I bring the crowd into my world. Yeah. That's what I try to do. I mean, you know how people like, man, I make all my friends laugh. And I go, that doesn't mean anything anymore. I passed that test in high school. Yeah. I want to know if I can make a bunch of nobodies laugh.
People that don't like me laugh.
Yeah, pretty much. Put me in front of a KKK rally. I really want to see if I can do it. And I think I could.
You'd get hung up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Last joke.
Yeah. But I've also, like I said, you do a lot of crowd work. But you open the door sometimes. See, I'm the type of guy, I'm a rapid fire guy.
Right. You keep it coming.
And I don't open the door. I ask a question, I slam it as soon as I
Yes.
But I've watched you open the door to people, and the stuff they give you back is just amazing. And then you just feed off that and you keep right on going. I get scared to death. I've been doing this for a long time, and they still scare me, that audience does.
Well, I grew up with a bunch of better word, jerks for friends, you know. Like, and I love my friends, but I'm saying we used to make fun of each other for anything. You know, if you were born with it, sorry, you're stuck with this. You know, we will make fun of you. And so
it wasn't bullying, it's just what we did.
Yeah, I mean, these days it would be considered bullying, but that's how I had fun. You know, sometimes you get stomped, but other times you'll be doing the stomping, and it's fun. And I created a thick skin from that. I've noticed a lot of comics are like that, but I feel like if I can be a little bit more conversational with the crowd, and I let them into my act, that's fine. I feel like in their head, my rating or their rating of me being funny goes up a little bit. Like, oh man, he really, I feel like I get more credit. And that's kind of all I want. It's just some props. Hey, Rick, you did a good job. I love that. Yeah. Now, hey, Rick, I'll give you 20. Money is just paper. I want to stay in your mind and
until it makes a big difference, it's just paper.
Yeah.
Until it's like, wow, that's more than my check.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden it becomes something else.
I just also think it's kind of shallow to go, oh man, I'm into comedy because I need a little bit extra paper, and it's like that's just I don't even think I'm that good. And I just don't. I don't get anything out of getting a couple of bucks. I really don't feel. Nothing feeds my soul like making people smile.
I say things sometimes, and people don't believe me and stuff. And when I give out compliments, people think I'm bullshit. But with you, see, you fit well on a show.
Well, thank you.
Okay, because you put the show together. There's people who throw shows together. They don't think of the lineup.
Right.
But you fit well in lineups. I mean, you're one of those guys. It's like you can't have every power hitter on the lineup.
Right.
You've got to have somebody who knows how to play the game, how to talk to the people, how to keep it going. Because if you have the same guy doing the same joke over and over and over, but a different person, it doesn't fit. And I've watched you slide into lineups, and you make the lineup so much better. It's just one of those things. It works for you.
I really thank you, and that just feels great. And I remember. There was a time before I actually took it serious. I would say like last fall, I wanted to jump on, and the lineup was full, and you were hosting, and you were like, hey, if you want to jump on, jump on. And I I've always appreciated that, even though it was just 5 minutes in some random day out of the year. You know, I still appreciate you opening up to me, and you know, I hope to one day return the favor.
Well,
you know. I'm doing open mics in Lawrence too.
Cool, and I will be there.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna wrap this up, but I want to ask you one more question before we go, okay? And if I upset you with this question, I apologize.
No such thing.
But when you write a joke, do you write it from a version? And I'm gonna, but a black version or a white? Because your jokes fit no matter what. And you know, everybody's like, whoa, he writes a lot. You don't write black jokes. You write people jokes, and you just happen to come from a black
perspective. You know, there's a few times I felt like comics would go, you know, I have another black joke. But it's like, you know, I try to come from myself, and I start off being black.
That's who you are.
Then I am also landscape. Then I'm an uncle, and that's usually when I'm like going dry. I try to go from inside. You know, oh, I've been single forever, or whatever can, you know. And I try to twist things around.
Well, I get the same questions about married jokes. People are like, that seems all you ever talk about. And it's like, no, you don't understand. That's who I am. That's
right. Exactly. And I can't. Again, I can't just sit there and write because I can never find my voice. But and a lot of my jokes, listen, if I was with these comics on a random day, all they're doing is black jokes. You know, it's really, you know, it's so, I don't know what anybody else expects, but my thing is that I do have edgy jokes. I don't swear much. I do have very edgy jokes. You know, I talk about porno and stuff like that. My goal is to just clean it up, you know.
Well, that's also your age group.
That's true, too.
You got about 3 or 5 years before it starts to mellow out a little bit.
I am 33, you know. I don't know how good these cameras are, but I got a couple of gray hairs on the chinny chin chin. But, you know, but the thing is I do kind of want to mature as a comic. I don't want to be so, I'm not even vile, but, you know, there's some punchlines that's a little rough, but they get the laughs that I'm looking for. And what I'm trying to do is, and I really just hope to kind of clean it up, get topics that everybody can relate to and not turn somebody off.
Are you in a hurry, or can you stick around?
No, I'll hang.
The next guy's going to be hilarious. And you and I, and the next guy is a great team. This next comedian, him and I have been working years together. Him and I have, I'd say it's probably at least about 8 years we go back. We used to do shows together, do a lot of comedy shows, and it's great to see Bryce Hanson.
Hey, Dennis. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Love the Utah Jazz.
Oh, thank you. I've been wearing this for about as long as I know. Rick, don't get up. Nice to see you.
Rick, right?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely.
Your buddies.
I remember when I met Rick, like maybe 2 years ago. It was over at the Winner's Circle, right?
That's a fact.
Because it was after you told me I was funny, and I'm like, this kid has to be stoned. So he should get me high now.
Yeah, that's funny.
What happens.
Yeah, that's interesting.
When you are the funniest, though.
Yeah. For some reason, like I'm less. You've known me for a long time. I'm probably less socially awkward. I probably shouldn't be saying this if anybody at work sees it.
No, this is mean.
Well, this is, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we're allowed to do stuff.
We're not going to put it on the internet.
And if I stumble, this is Bryce Hanson. Bryce Hanson and I, we've gone way back. Dude, I've been on shows with you that have been some horror shows.
Yes.
And I've been on some great shows.
I know, right?
Good times.
But the horror shows, I think we remember better.
Isn't that the way it is? Just like the same thing with women.
Oh. I don't even what.
What do you remember?
I don't even. No, I remember the attractive ones too.
Maybe I just only get the horror ones out.
I don't know, Dennis. I've only known you for 5 years, and all that time you've just been married. So.
Okay, then we'll change the subject.
Yeah.
Well, remember that you and I did this show one time. It was in where was it, in Massachusetts? But it was that big show. Where was that? At Worcester?
Was it? Oh yes, over at the. You had that police function.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
There was about 400 or 500 people there, and everybody's like, "Oh, real nervous," because you know. And I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "Bryce is going to get up there and kill it." And you started out, and boy, it was a great show.
That was a shock at the time. First of all, the place was magnificent. Have you ever been to? All right, so. The show itself was in Worcester, Massachusetts for the Worcester Police Department, and they had rented out the entire bus facility.
Bus terminal thing.
Yeah, like the bus stop there, and it looked like we were performing where the
transit hub.
Right, exactly. Where Kevin Costner caught the baby and the Untouchables.
Same type of place, which is the best.
Yeah, it was huge. Have you ever been to the
No.
bus station? It's right off.
Oh, in Worcester.
Yeah.
Great big one.
I mean,
It's like
yeah. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
No, I'm thinking of Worcester. I do know.
Yeah, it was a huge.
There's a restaurant in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was wild. It was wild.
So they blocked it off. They blocked off half of it. They put up seats, and you had the most craziest stage setup. I mean, it was a limited stage setup, and they asked you beforehand, right? What did they ask you to put up? Like they asked you, like, do you want anything up? And you said,
Oh yeah.
well, what was it? Just put up a palm tree,
Yeah,
and like.
back. You should give us something to play with. Yeah.
Right.
Worked out well.
That was great. I came straight from work, and I ranted about work for a little bit during my set, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
See, it used to be that, when you first started out, I'd be putting you on shows and people would be like, really? You gonna bring Bryce to that show? And I'd be like, dude, you don't understand. I said, when you build a show, like Rick and I were talking about, when you build a show, you have to have certain people to make a show, because you just can't have the same person. And Bryce, you ain't the same person.
No.
And if you haven't seen it, we're going to show you a clip of his. We all did a show together, and it was hilarious. We have a tape we want to show you. You ready for this?
Oh, all right,
Check
yeah.
This out. Watch this.
Okay.
I'm Bryce Hanson. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Back in high school, I tried out for my wrestling team. I was the only person to show up wearing a cape and carrying a 2x4. My dad has one arm, and he never really hugged me or loved me. Oh, man. A few years ago, I was at my dad's 5th wedding along with all my siblings, and I realized, wow, this is the biggest waste of rice I've been to yet. We could all be eating that at his next wedding. Have you ever made out with yeah. Yeah. Have you ever ran into a pregnant ex-girlfriend and been like, whoa, January, February, March. Congratulations. Looks like you're doing swell. Like, I have a fear of children. I'm not afraid of having any. I'm just afraid if my dad has one more, he's going to stop sending me money. But another thing is, like, children seem to suck the fun out of everything. Well, not all of them, but most of them. For example, the other day, my son came up to me, and he said, Daddy, how come I don't exist? And I was like, here we go with the questions again. Why is the sky blue? Why don't I have a uterus? And I'm like, oh, son. So the other day, I was making out with this beautiful woman, and she was a 10. Then I reached down and grabbed her penis. That immediately dropped her down to an 8. Hey guys, look. 3 of my favorite numbers. All right, that's me having fun. Here's a question for you. Do schizophrenic deaf people hear voices? That's a question. Anything that ends in a question mark usually is. So, there is that. Oh, it's good to be back in Biddeford, you know? It's one of those things where, hey, did you guys know that Moxie tastes like Biddeford? Notice me smiling? That's added canned laughter later. Hey, points back at all you. All right, back to the crap. I have to date a lot because nobody wants to continue dating me. Like, it all stops after the first or second date, all right? And like for example, this girl asked me the other day on a first date. She said, "Are you a cat or a dog person?" I said, "You can order whatever you want off the menu." I had problems trying to bring dates back to my storage unit. I say, this is just temporary. Soon my dad will die, then it will really be my storage unit. So there was that. I work in Lowell, Massachusetts, and Lowell's a fantastic place if giving up is part of the plan. And as you guys probably be able to tell, I sell cars for a living. Yeah. Hey, I'm sure all of you have had that experience of buying a car at one point in your life, where the guy was probably I don't know, gave a shit about his life. Oh shoot, gave a shoot about his life. Sorry. Oh, right. For myself, I am not that way. I don't care. I had to throw somebody out of a car dealership recently. How sad is that? First of all, I don't have the body for it, and whatever. But this woman asked me the other day. She said, "Do you sell anything besides Mazdas?" I said, "Yeah, pot." But that price is non-negotiable. So there's all that stuff that goes on at a car dealership. I had a problem recently. I got written up. I got written up for something I didn't even do. My job. This was the third write-up. I said, "So what happens at the fourth one?" They said, "Well, you get walked and you have to take your base. And we're going to bring on a pinch runner because you're not in any good shape." They caught me cheating on a drug test. All right, well, they caught me the first time, and the second time they caught me for the second time. All right. And so what happened was they found me using a prosthetic penis. And at the time, my only excuse was, this is the penis I normally pee out of. Right. Good, we're all caught up on my job. Yeah. As you guys can tell, I dabble a little bit in modeling. Yes, this is what you can buy at Goodwill. It's their soon-to-be over collection. One more step and it's done. So, when I was a kid, I used to get into a lot of trouble. And what happened was my mom, she unfortunately died of breast cancer when I was 9. And I got sent to the principal's office when I was younger. And the principal did not know that my mother had just passed away. And she told me, "This time, we're going to have to call your parents to come pick you up." I said, "Okay." She said, "What's your mom's phone number?" I said, "That won't be necessary." And I reach into my backpack. She thinks I'm grabbing a cell phone. And I pull out a Ouija board. I said, "Don't worry, she'll be here." For the next half an hour, my mom's spirit was bitching me out. She said, she was like, "I had to leave the afterlife for this, Bryce? Really? You're just like your father." And I was like, "Oh, Mom." And she says, "You wait till he gets home." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "You better be." Haven't had any time like this since purgatory. And so I love women. I'm big into them. They're great to me. Some of them are sweet and nice, and others are nasty and fun. But overall, I'm a very generous, rewarding lover. But I feel like some women take advantage of that, you know, and just do what they do to me for the Applebee's gift card. Oh, that hit all of you. Canned laughter, yay. A few years ago, I'm now 26. I'll be 27 next month. And I got married when I was 22. And as you guys are probably thinking, somebody had to stay in this country. And years later, around the time I turned about 24, 25, 26, I realized, you know what, maybe I didn't have to get married to stay in this country, you know, being a U.S. citizen and all. Thanks for the claps, guys. That's it for me. I'm Bryce Hanson. Thank you guys so much. Woo.
Not bad, huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can't believe how thin I was 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's a Utah Jazz thing. It just puts a lot of weight on you.
I know, right? The stripes. I'm glad that I'm already sitting down because I was like covering up the rest of my stomach that was
See, the
falling
best part,
out.
every time I see you, I always think about that one joke you always do. This is what they're wearing. This is what the homeless are wearing.
Oh,
you always say, you know, if you want to know, you dabble in modeling.
Oh, yeah.
If you really want to.
I actually came up with that a couple minutes at the Gold before a show at the Gold Room with you. Remember that one time they had me come up and do a guest spot after the two comics got stuck in a huge traffic, like a tractor trailer caught fire on I-95 coming down the cliff. And two comics called up and said, so the owner of the Gold Room came up to me and said, he asked me, he said, "You a comic?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You mind doing half an hour?" And Dennis says to him, "Keep it down to 10 minutes." Yeah, don't worry about the time.
But you killed it. You got to admit, that was a good rum.
And then I went up and I told that joke, the joke about goodwill. You're like, "I wouldn't do that, especially if you don't know it." That was great.
Well, you and I started, you know, we've done TV shows before. We did cable access in Portland.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was, you remember the name of the show we did?
Was that one? There was On the Loose.
On the Loose, yeah.
And there was Street Talk.
Street Talk was my favorite.
Street Talk was great.
Because we had no script and it was just terrible.
It was awful. It got to the point, one episode, I was like, people should start slapping me in the face.
Just on random thing, and people come and just slap them, walk by. But we had this mock call-in. You know, we used to have our friends call in, and we tried to pretend it was, you know, it was kind of interesting and stuff. But then somebody actually called us. Remember that lady who called us with a legitimate problem, like some dog was attacking all the kids in the neighborhood, and she didn't know what to do with it, and we were expecting gags, and we're like, we ended the show on that one, and then the next week, remember we did that skit about that dog chasing me, you, and Lou down the street.
It was your dog.
Yeah, my little white dog. And the very end was the funniest thing our friend Lou ever said to me. He looks at me, he goes, "Why is it got to be a white dog?" That's the best, man.
Well, we couldn't get another.
The best thing about it is when we got back the next week, the guy's like, "Dude, that was the funniest show. You had more responses and comments on any other show we've ever had on the cable access show." And Lou and I were like, "Really? How many we get?" The guy's, 4.
4 is an outstanding amount for public access. You don't understand.
Yeah.
People will buy cable.
Yeah.
No, we were very fortunate once we did it, and a lot of times we had a lot of fun doing it, and then other times it was like,
drag.
oh my God, it was like, I hope we're learning something right now.
Yeah.
I think so. I saw your interview with Rick beforehand, and I was like, wow, maybe we did
better at it.
Yeah, not just you, but I was like, first of all, I was like, Rick is such a great first guest.
It's like a warm-up.
Yeah, warm her up. Yeah.
But no, we did a lot with that show. We put the couch on the street, and then we would go and we filmed sketches. And I think that we got in trouble a few times.
Oh, a couple times. Remember that time we tried to throw a rock through a window and we got in trouble?
Yes. Yeah, there was a.
Were you guys 17?
Yeah, pretty
We
much.
had a good time.
I was a little bit closer to 17 than Dennis at the time.
Yeah, it's a long time, 16, 17.
But
Not even the channel.
Exactly. Do you remember that one sketch that we're filming where I said that let's make it so that way I kill all the comedians in town?
Yep, you were having everybody come to the center of town, Monument Square.
And then just
you
fall.
Right, you were shooting them from the parking garage. And that would move you up with the comedy connection. You'd actually get time because you was in town.
Right, yes. That was it. And the security guard from the parking garage kept on trying to catch me all day long.
It's like, hey, you guys, and we were running. And then he'd go back to his little shack, and then we'd run back up and start filming again.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
hey, you guys.
I think we did it like twice before. He was like, this time I'm really going to call the cops.
Now, Rick and I were talking about how you write jokes and stuff like that. Now, you're a different type of writer than all three of us. We all are different. I'm more of a bang, 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 rapid fire type, like I talked about.
Oh, sure.
Rick is more of a storyteller, and he loves to include the audience. But you're more like, I hate to use the word because everybody like a Stephen Wright-ish type of guy. You're more of the quick things that make you look at the friend you're with and go, did he really say that?
I will take the compliment of Stephen Wright any day because Stephen Wright is an Oscar winner. I am far from that. I am a car salesman.
Oscar Mayer winner.
That was amazing because it was at one point I realized there's an Oscar award winner sleeping on their couch. So no, when it came to doing one-liners, it was all just kind of like you take a topic and you break it down to the shortest form possible, but you only have so much time to do it in because if not, then it just becomes stale in your mind.
Well, the toughest part is segueing from one-liners to one-liners because you really haven't built anything, and it's a little tougher.
Sometimes there's a lot of, when it comes to one-liners, you rarely see segues, though.
Right, because it's so hard. You just,
different randomness. I think it's good when you're talking to a crowd with a short attention span when it comes to one-liners. You're great.
Absolutely, and I think that like one-liners are great for like competition and contests for stand-up, and also
it's hard to fill time.
Oh yeah.
When somebody goes, hey, dude, I need 40 minutes from you, and most of your stuff is quick and fast, it's like, ooh,
5 new jokes in 1 minute.
Well, one of the things is like you'll notice comedians like Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg breaking away with that. From that is through obviously music. Like Stephen Wright would pick up a guitar, and Mitch Hedberg would actually have like a jazz band with him, doing it. But it was more like of that San Francisco type atmosphere, like that beatnik thing. So for myself, I don't know, I've experienced a lot of ups and downs of that. Mostly downs because I'm still on the lowest level of stand-up, but I have a good time with it, and I'll bring out what I used to do more often for book shows, where now it's like I go to open mics and do material nobody wants to hear, and I'm really good at doing that.
But also, see, you and I have been friends long enough, and it's different because I've been friends with a lot of people, but you and I are different because I can say things to you.
Yeah.
And I can like suggest jokes, or I can say, hey, try it this way. And you and I will go back and forth. You do the same thing with me, and it works good with us. But if you try it with some other people, they get very upset. They think that you're trying to, and it's like, you understand that I'm just trying to throw my 2 cents in, and you do the same thing with my side, and it works out good.
Oh, sure.
Some people get bent out of shape, go, dude, don't tell me how to write my joke.
I always feel like people that are like that and can't accept something, because you'd never have to use anything that anybody ever
just
tells you.
Right.
I mean, you and I always had a good relationship, a good friendship. Even when you would tell me things beforehand, like even becoming friends. Like for example, when somebody would tell you to do something,
excuse me,
you would you never have to, but whenever you would say something to me, then it would be able to work out for the best. I'm trying to remember what it is for examples.
Yeah, I remember one time I was telling you, because you used to pile through, and I used to tell you, get in front of a mirror and look at your own expressions.
Yeah.
And that your expressions have really changed now. You really sell your jokes, because you used to just say them, and now you feel them.
Well, now I have to sell them because I need the diabetes stuff.
That's a fact.
I know, right? We were watching videos of Dennis and myself back when we first started doing like the filming side of it like this, and I was a lot thinner, like by 30 pounds.
But then again, you were almost homeless.
Yeah, almost. I was.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
A car is not a home. Then you always gave me like something to do, whether it be like, you know, diner, things like that. Like a couple times that occurred, and I don't know. It was always great living in Maine.
It's like putting money in an investment, though. I mean, you're getting better and better. You and Lou all thought that way.
Yeah.
So we stuck together. One of us was going to do something.
Right, right.
You know, Lou was going to die.
I know, right? The one that we were expecting this stuff to happen with. Like, oh, you mean he's headlining a black room? You and I don't have that opportunity. You don't have that opportunity.
I'm going to get it.
Where are you going to find somebody black to help you out?
Well, it's been great having you on the set.
Oh,
I'm going to
thank
ask
you.
you one more question. It's going to tie this whole thing. You're not from Maine. I mean, you were here long enough to be a Mainer, but you live. Where do you live now?
I live down in Somerville, Mass, just outside Boston.
And it's funny because you do a lot of shows in Boston because you can transcend both sets, and that works out pretty well. But I've also noticed the more north you go, you have a little trouble because a lot of them don't understand the type of humor.
No, God, no. Like for what it was and what it was worth, for what I have for experience in Maine, I could always relate back to it and have it work. But that's only going to go as far as the Lewiston, Auburn area, because anything beyond that doesn't care about what happens in southern Maine.
No.
And it's not even the same area. You would find new things in the world you don't know existed, and like, I don't know, and I would always have to relate back to like taking off like my cardigan or whatever I'm wearing and throwing up my Moxie tattoo to be like, look, I'm dumb and I was born here. Yeah.
I even have a Moxie tattoo.
I know, right? How many times does that bail me out?
I know. Thanks, man. Rick, it's good having you. Bryce,
Thank you.
Always good seeing you, my friend.
Pleasure, Dennis.
Take care. Rick, thanks.
Yes.
Guys, make sure that you come see us. We're going to be doing a set in Biddeford coming up at the Biddeford Music Hall. It's going to be all of us there. I haven't told you it, but you're going to be there.
What day?
Don't worry, it's in March, so you got more than enough time.
Oh, good, yes.
And we're going to have a great time. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for listening. This is Dennis Fogg from Comedy 101. Thank you. Good job.
That was fun.